So thank you both for joining. We're joined, so I'm Robert, first of all. I'm the Marcom Director at Fuse. We are joined by Mark, who is the CEO at Fuse, and Christophe, who is one of the co-founders at Request Network. It's been around 4 weeks now since Request Network was implemented on Fuse Network, and awesome integration, very important for the Fuse ecosystem. So we're very happy to have this integration. We'll start off with some intros. So Christophe, if you would like to start, tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background and how you came to create Request Network.
Sure. Yeah, pleasure to be here today. Thank you for inviting us. To talk a little bit about myself, I'm a business person. I studied entrepreneurship and finance and strategy. I've been a CFO in many different countries, including Switzerland, China, and a few countries in the world. I started being an entrepreneur really only in 2014, and the project that we launched with co-founders was a project to do money transfers internationally using Bitcoin. So we started transferring money from China to Europe, then from Mexico to Europe, and breaking the barriers of capital controls. And we ended up with a very good solution for money transfers. And we realized, especially when we were in Silicon Valley at the Y Combinator startup accelerator, that all money transfers in the world and cross-currency exchanges happen because there is an invoice to be paid, but in a different currency. And we had the skills already in blockchain. So we had the skills to build a banking alternative. So basically, we've been building it with a request. That's how we came up with a project from the needs of users, from the problem in the banking industry. And then we launched in 2017 and built this payment request technology. I was working as a co-founder and CFO, now mostly as a co-founder and CEO. And what we did is last year in August 2020, we launched an invoicing product. And this invoicing product transferred today more than $100 million. Last month, it was $30 million. And the monthly growth is it's above 200%. So it's going very well. And we really like to expand the territories and expand with a great project like Fuse. That's what we are doing today. So and today we are here so to explain why we are doing it. So because we're blockchain agnostic, and we believe all those networks can work together.
Perfect. And Mark, obviously we've got people who have joined us from the Request Network community, and we're recording this for our YouTube channel. But if you'd also like to give a brief background so that everyone knows who you are, what your story is.
Sure. I'm from Tel Aviv, entrepreneur for more than 20 years. My first company was really something that is relevant to invoicing. We built an e-commerce platform. And 9 years ago, I bought a little bit of Bitcoin and first time had a chance to play with the technology, and I'm basically doing this ever since. And Fuse is my third company in crypto. And every company really tried to implement the same vision. It's only the technology matures more and more. And today, blockchains, people mostly talk, like 99% of the discussions is really about the Bitcoin price. But anybody that ever used the Bitcoin or Ethereum or any token on any blockchain can't help but notice the efficiency, and people that are in the e-commerce space and people that are building on legacy systems on things like Visa, PayPal, Stripe, Square, all those companies, they know very well how expensive and complicated the integrations and really a lot of the evolution of crypto, the way I see it, is really eating those old systems and taking bits and pieces from the old world and reconstructing them differently. So we knew we need an invoicing component on Fuse. Fuse is a full stack solution for any community, for any small retailer that wants to compete with the big guys. And he wants to create their own payment system. They want to create their own loyalty systems. They want to integrate digital payments, but they don't want to do it through expensive hardware, through expensive fees. So we can see Fuse as kind of like a decentralized Stripe. Just like you pay 3% for every transaction, and you can get a lot of tools out of the box. For instance, invoicing. You can get invoicing on Stripe and integration to banking, and basically it saves you a lot of work. But you want to build something that doesn't charge 3% and works in other places other than the US. And then when you integrate to Fuse, you don't necessarily limit it to using only credit cards like with Stripe. So the idea is to provide an alternative, and yeah, that's really the short story from my background to Fuse, and why we also reached out and wanted to implement this on Fuse. Fuse is an EVM chain, so I think the integration was fairly painless. So yeah, that's really in a nutshell about Fuse and myself.
And just to lead on from that, Mark, before I ask another question to Christophe about where their sort of roadmap so far, I think it was on the 11th that request was integrated onto Fuse. Could you tell us a little bit about how it's being used so far and how you see it being used moving forward?
That's a question for Mark. Who is it for me?
It's for Mark, yes, if he's still with us.
Yes. So you asked how was so right now we're building integration of a request network inside our tools. So we have a special product called the Studio where people can create communities, and we want to offer a request automatically as a plugin for those communities. Then they can basically create invoices from inside the system, and this requires us integrating to request API, and will take a little bit of time. But anybody that wants to issue invoices on the Fuse network directly can already do it, and our team internally is using it already. We also talked a lot about this collaboration in the past month. We need to find a way to see statistics from outside, but I guess it's easier to track how much invoices were made on your side. But the idea is to scale this collaboration moving forward, so people will have it inside our wallets, and we hope also in the future people will be able to issue invoices on mobile. So if a merchant wants automatic invoicing, this could be customized and localized, and that's really how I see this collaboration moving forward.
Yeah, definitely an important tool. Yeah.
We can imagine things going. So at first, we can imagine sharing about the usage. Most of the data are on the blockchain, anonymized of course. But for the amounts and the network that are used, you can find it on the blockchain. We can share about it regularly. What I see in terms of usage is that at first, the Fuse team uses this invoicing technology for paying invoices and issuing invoices. Then the Fuse ecosystem uses it. And in parallel, we can imagine people who need to send invoices in crypto and get paid in crypto to adopt Fuse technology and do it there. So basically, it's really a win-win partnership because request can serve Fuse and Fuse can serve request. And it's also a third win with the fact that the user has got a great experience with the Fuse ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
So that's promising, only the beginning.
You mentioned earlier, Christophe, $100 million, I believe, so far invoiced on Request Network. Could you give us a few more figures? What in terms of where you've been so far with Request Network, in terms of growth, and where you see things going in the future in terms of development?
Okay, that's many questions. At first, basically, the story is quite interesting about how it started. So it started with more than 1 year ago. There was one user of our technology, and the person had been using the product for a few months in a way that was not okay for him, but he was using it like every month. And we're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Maybe we could try a way to find out who it is and talk. And when we did, we just talked with this user and understood what his needs are, and his needs were about invoicing. So what happened is we built a new product based on the needs of one person, based on our vision, based on some feedback from potential users, but that's very risky. And we built it, and 3 months later, we had still only one user. We were like, oh my God, it's September 2020. How are we gonna do? Is that the right choice? Things changed a bit because a few months later we had like 10, and then in January maybe 50, 80, and today we've got 600. So we went from 1 to 620 businesses using a request invoicing app in 1 year. And how we made progress? Basically by listening to users the same way we listened to the first one. So we learn from their needs. When they tell that they want a faster horse, we try to build a car, and we make sure that everything that we do is aligned with their needs. For example, some people would ask for subscription, and we would think that an integration with Superfluid would work better. So that's how we build a faster horse car rather than a faster horse. In terms of roadmap, there are a few things that we do that are very, very valuable for businesses paying multiple invoices. It's if we compare the experience today, if you are a finance person or even a founder in a crypto company, of paying invoices in crypto, it's very painful. Basically, you receive a PDF invoice, and you have a second page with addresses of crypto addresses where you can send funds. And the person who received money needs to find out where you paid, when, and if it was you, because it's anonymized, you don't really know who paid you. So that's tricky. It takes a lot of time, probably between 20 minutes and 30 minutes per invoice, if we include reconciliation afterwards. And now what we have really that is very impactful is the batching payment, where basically a finance person at Fuse, for example, is receiving 50 invoices at the same place, is approving them one by one, and when the person is ready, can batch payments, all of them, in one click. And basically what happens for the invoice issuer that he sees on his invoice that it has been paid because the payment has been detected. So everyone is saving a lot of time. And more than that, it adds compliance to the crypto transactions. So the accountants are quite happy, reassured, and the auditors are even happier, and the authority don't, like they're just okay because you've got invoices, that's fine. Then we, over the last few months, we added a few networks. We are still working on new networks. So there's a Fuse among them. And in the next one, there's a Near or Binance Smart Chain. It's very likely that we will keep working very closely to EVM compatible blockchain like Fuse, because Fuse is easy, as you said, Mark. It's much easier for everyone, and the ecosystem are usually more mature if they are EVM compatible.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe yeah, that's good.
Okay, awesome. I wanted to ask a question about the request, the token, the REQ token. Of course, Fuse token is the underlying token for the Fuse blockchain. It's used for things like paying transactions, governance. Some of it interoperates with some of the DeFi products that we've got. I wanted to understand more, and for our audience in particular, to understand more about what the request network token is about.
Sure. At first, what's the most important probably is to understand that what we want is to have the users hold the token. So we want to create a healthy ecosystem where users of an app are also holder, at least partially, of the app. And then how we are doing it, we are doing it mostly with the token. And today the token has a few functions. It helps in terms of governance, or especially in terms of prioritizing needs. So we send a few tokens to users regularly, and they can vote for the feature that they want, where basically that give a lot of power to users in terms of rearranging priorities. The REC token also plays a security role because there's an anti-spam mechanism. And there's a burn mechanism where basically every time there is an invoice that is on the blockchain, there's a small number of REC that is bought and burned that makes REC a deflationary currency. Despite all this, which is already very good and a very long game, despite all this, we are still working on a REC Tokenomics V2 to make it even better than today. The same way the Aave team did it when they changed from ETH Len to Aave with the new Aave Tokenomics. So ideally, we would manage such a success in terms of changing the token economics. So that's a very long process. That's something that is going to come out in coming months.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you for that, Christophe. I'm going to ask 3 questions that we got from the community on Twitter, and then after that we'll do closing comments. There's 2 questions for you, Christophe, and 1 question for Mark. If I'm asking a question, it means that the question I'm asking, the person who asked that question has won the Fuse reward. So congratulations for that. The first question I'll send to Mark. Mark, you claim that Fuse is a self-service smart contract platform. Explain what you mean by self-service and how it defines the project, how it defines Fuse.
Yeah, so self-service means that it's not only for developers necessarily. Right now, most blockchains are, well, you can say that that only developers feel comfortable with current blockchains, the way they're built. Most blockchain platforms focus on developer adoption, so we focus on developer adoption as well. But our vision is that it would be easy for anybody, any entrepreneur, any person, any creator to come and build things that are not necessarily experimental. If I want to mint a token or have an airdrop or create a mechanism that rewards people for good behavior, or if I want to accept payments with QR codes, everything I mentioned is in the future is going to be pretty common. And it's not only, you don't need to be a developer and invest millions of dollars to develop things from scratch. And also, not every company needs to have like crypto knowledge. The whole idea is to offer the tools in open source and create a very low entry barrier platform that is really very similar. I can compare it to things like Wix, where people can come and build their own website. So look at tools like that, how they exponentially bigger than developer platform. They just open up the circle of people that are able to access and build stuff on it. So yeah, the idea is to build an infrastructure product that is not only for developers. And people in the future will be able not only to build their wallets, but also websites, shops, and everything will come with payments integrated.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Mark. So a question for you, Christophe, once again from one of our, a question from Twitter. Who are your potential customers? Who are Request Network's potential customers, and what markets are you targeting?
Okay, so first, Request Network Foundation is a foundation based in Zug, the same way Ethereum Foundation is based in Zug. It's a non-profit, and they have a technology. So Request Network Foundation has got the technology, and this technology today is used by one main application, and that's request invoicing. So now there are two ways I can answer this question. I'm going to answer from request invoicing's perspective, the market and the users of this application are crypto ecosystems. So this can be Ethereum Foundation, Aave, MakerDAO, Chainlink, Fuse, many different crypto ecosystems. We are here to make their lives easy, and we also ambition to help them in the adoption. Basically, we want to build this banking alternative, and we believe these crypto DeFi ecosystems are the places where we need to put our forces and our investments. I just want to mention that Ethereum Foundation and Chainlink are not users of Request, or not to my knowledge, but the other one that I quoted, they are. And then I can answer also another perspective. So on the perspective that is technologically based, anyone can build an application on top of the payment request technology. So someone else could build an invoicing app, or an invoice financing app, or a payment reputation system, or other things, payroll system, expense request app. So this is the Request Network Foundation's goal, ultimately. But at first, the energy and what's really working well is this main application that is already quite powerful and onboarding many interesting crypto ecosystem. They are saving a lot of time, and I think you can see a demo on Fuse YouTube.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that, Christophe. And then a final question for you once again from the community. What are your top priorities for the end of 2021? If you could share any information about some of the key projects that you're focusing on.
Sure. Okay, so our main priority is to bring so much value to users that every user is using the app and with all his suppliers and clients. So we are really with one priority that is making users happy, and ultimately this will result in growth in terms of users. From the same way we went from 1 to 600 in 1 year, we would like to go from 600 to 10,000 in the next few years. And then in terms of what's on the roadmap right now, I spoke about the fact that we add networks. So for example, we are working very hard on implementing a NEAR protocol to so that will be one more crypto ecosystem. We are also releasing very soon something that's very needed. It's called Fiat to Crypto. So Fiat to Crypto is a way for anyone, I think all of us here, will be able to send an invoice to someone who will pay in fiat. So in Euro, USD, GBP, ILS, and you will receive crypto. And the person who will pay, so the client, this can be the Minister of Defense, it can be the government, this can be your employer. They won't know that you receive crypto. They won't have to do a KYB on identity verification. And this is a big change. That's a way to bridge the fiat and crypto world. We're quite excited about it, and we will go step by step, first with an MVP, and then we will improve. Another thing that we are adding is the other verticals. So not only invoices, invoices are mostly sent by businesses, but also salary request, expense request, and funding request. Basically, when a startup is raising funds, the investor can use the request technology to pay, and that's going to be much easier for them. Yeah, that's pretty much what I have in mind on top of my head, but there's a lot to do.
Okay, excellent. I really appreciate that. Both Mark and Christophe will come towards an end here. I'll give you the opportunity to make any final comments. I personally use Request Network. I've been using it for a while, and obviously very happy to have Request Network now within the Fuse ecosystem. Really important product, I think. Christophe, if people wanted to get in contact directly with you, what would be the best way to do that?
I think we've got a great community on Discord. I'm there every day. The team is there as well. And we are also quite active on Twitter.
Okay, fantastic. If anyone wants to see the product in action, they can go to our YouTube channel. They'll see a demo there. More importantly, they can go to Request Network itself and test it out for themselves. I'll give you both the opportunity to make any final comments, and then we'll end it there. Mark, have you got any final comments?
Yeah, just that I'm excited to see what people are building and have many ideas about possible synergies. We focus a lot on B2C payments, but also B2B payments have been interesting. I didn't see too many examples of from B2B payments from the real world being done on the blockchain. And in the real world, those usually are done with cash or checks, or there's a lot of friction in terms of invoicing because they need to deduct the tax. And I absolutely see, taking open source marketplaces and combining them with a payments and invoicing solution. And then, a merchant can say, I want $10,000 worth of apples for 10 barter with somebody that offers a service or another product, and you can easily do this transaction. And there's a monetary aspect to it, but and also a tax aspect to it, and you can kind of reduce the friction a lot using digital tools and using crypto.
Agreed. Awesome. Thanks, Mark. Christophe, any final comments before we finish up?
No, thank you for supporting Request. And it's great that our teams are working together. I think we are also big supporters of Fuse, and a few team members would also be good witnesses to say that this is a very easy to use environment. So yeah. I think it would be great to see a huge growth for Fuse in the coming weeks.
Yeah, thank you very much for this this integration, this collaboration. It's it's an important integration for us. We really look forward to continuing to collaborate with the Request team moving forward. Thank you both very much, and we'll end it there. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody.